The number one side hustle to start in 2025. My name is Zach Pasquarello. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I truthfully believe bookkeeping is the best business to start. Side hustle, entrepreneur, business, company, whatever you want to call it. I started my bookkeeping company, Harrisburg Bookkeeping, 5 years ago. Now I make these videos truthfully. I just love talking about my bookkeeping business. So, my goal here is to teach you everything that I know so that you can learn from my mistakes and hopefully fast track to success. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the chat. Once I go through my notes, I'm going to do my best to go over everybody's questions. So let's just jump right into it. Work virtually, anytime, anywhere. Let's jump right into it. Starting a bookkeeping business, you can do this anywhere, virtually, anytime. So if you're on the West Coast, you can work with East Coast clients. If you're in a different country, you can work with clients in the United States. You can work from the comfort of your own home. You can work out of your basement, or you can get an office. Or you can go on vacation and you can still run your bookkeeping company. You can literally work anywhere, anytime. Middle of the night, if you're an early bird, if you're a night owl, if you want to work on the weekends, you can work anytime, anywhere. Because of that, you can keep your full-time job, which is amazing. That's what I did. I was still working as a night shift area manager at Amazon, and I kept my full-time job, and I was still able to start my bookkeeping business because I just worked early in the morning or late in the evening or on the weekends or on my days off during my lunch break. You can keep your full-time job and still work anytime, anywhere. I always compare this to the business that my wife started around the same time. She started a home organizing company, which was amazing, incredible, a very good service. A lot of people needed it. But the problem was she had to work in person at people's houses on their schedule. So she could only work when they were available, when they were home, and she had to drive places and work in person and take a shower and look nice and look presentable versus me. Of course, I'm still taking a shower, but I can just wear gym clothes. I can wear a t-shirt. I can wear shorts. I can be in my pajamas if I want. I can be in my home office. I can be in my basement. I can be in my living room, in my kitchen. I can work anywhere. So her business was great. It was a really good idea, but she was restricted by having to travel. And she spent a lot of time traveling and she could only work specific hours during the week versus me. I could just work anywhere. We could go on vacation. I could keep working. I could be anywhere, anytime running my business. Start with $0. You really don't need a ton of money to start a bookkeeping company. Literally, all you need is an internet connection and a laptop, and you don't even necessarily need an internet connection because you can just go to your local library or you could go to a local coffee shop and you could probably get free internet. So you really just need a computer, and you could probably go on Amazon and get a cheap computer for maybe $200. I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend maybe spend $600 and get a little nicer of a laptop. But if you're low on cash, $200, literally, that's all you need. You don't need to buy inventory. You don't need to hire employees. You don't need vehicles or equipment or a building. You don't need anything. You can literally just start with a laptop and an internet connection, and that's all you need. No experience necessary. You don't need to have a job as an accountant. You don't need to have a college degree. You don't need to have certifications or credentials. You don't need any experience. Now, with that being said, I definitely recommend that you educate yourself. You do want to learn bookkeeping fundamentals and accounting concepts, of course. But if you're brand new, I was brand new. I purchased a course 5 years ago. And I'll be honest, the course wasn't great. That's actually why I created my own course, because so many people were asking me if I had course recommendations, and I didn't want to recommend the course that I took because it was outdated. I'm sure it was good 15 years ago, but it seems like it was an old course, outdated, didn't have a lot of great information. So I created my own course only because people were begging me for course recommendations. So I linked the course in the description of this video. It does teach you everything you need to know from start to finish. If you want to buy that course, you can, but you don't need any experience. You don't need any college degree to start a bookkeeping business. You just need to know how to use QuickBooks Online, how to use accounting software, and you need to know basic bookkeeping fundamentals. So I do recommend consider taking Intro to Accounting at a college or a local community college or online. You got to learn debits and credits and assets, liabilities and equity and everything else that comes with bookkeeping fundamentals, but you don't need a college degree. It's a necessary service. And if there are new people who just joined, Let me just say, if you have any questions, you can just drop them in the chat there, and I will be happy to answer anybody's questions, any comments. Let me know once I get through going through my notes of all these reasons why I think bookkeeping is the number one side hustle. Ask some questions, and I will do my best to answer everybody's questions. It's a necessary service. Bookkeeping is a necessary service. I compare it a lot to solar panels. So you don't need solar panels, but it could be a good option if you're trying to save on your utility bills. So to sell solar panels, people have to go door to door and convince people that buying solar panels is a good idea. But when it comes to bookkeeping services, we don't have to convince people they need a bookkeeper. The IRS does that for us. We just have to convince people that they can trust us and that we are a good bookkeeper. So we don't have to convince people they need a bookkeeper. We just need to convince people that they should hire us as a bookkeeper. It's a necessary service because business owners need to file their taxes. In order to file your taxes, you need to have financial reports. In order to get financial reports, you need to categorize your transactions. AI and technology makes bookkeeping easier today than ever before. Don't be afraid of AI. Don't be afraid of technology. Learn how to use it. Learn how to leverage it to your advantage. Now I have 80 bookkeeping clients. 20 years ago, guaranteed you would not be able to service 80 bookkeeping clients on your own. But now with QuickBooks Online, rules, the QuickBooks bank feed, a lot of automations, technology, it makes it easier. So you use that to your advantage. You can service more clients today than ever before. Don't be afraid of AI. Learn how to use it. You're not going to get replaced by artificial intelligence, but you will be replaced by bookkeepers who know how to use artificial intelligence. Social media makes advertising easier than ever before. Social media is free. You can do social media from the comfort of your own home, in bed, on your couch, in your home office, in your pajamas, in your gym clothes, anywhere, anytime. Social media is free, easy advertising. You can just create content for free on social media. You don't need to pay for newspaper ads, billboard ads, commercial ads, pay-per-click, Google ads. Social media is free advertising. It's simple, but it's not easy. Let me just be clear. All of this stuff sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's incredibly hard because you have to be consistent for a long period of time. I use a gym analogy a lot of times. Imagine you go to the gym and you want to get stronger. So you work out for a couple weeks and then you get really sore and then you stop. You lose motivation, you lose inspiration, you don't have the discipline, and you stop going to the gym. If you work out for 2 weeks, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get stronger. But if you continue going to the gym every day for 6 months, I guarantee you, you will start to get stronger. It's simple. You just got to go to the gym and work out. But it's incredibly hard to stay motivated and to be disciplined for a long period of time consistently every day. Going to the gym every day for 6 months, incredibly hard, but I guarantee you will see results. Same concept with starting a bookkeeping business. You need to continue to learn bookkeeping in QuickBooks, and you need to continue doing social media marketing, advertising, sales. It's simple, but it's not easy. I'm not here to tell you that starting a bookkeeping is easy. Starting a bookkeeping business is not easy, but I do think it's an incredible side hustle to start. Let me go over. So those are kind of the things that I always talk about. I always say that those are good ideas, good reasons to start a bookkeeping business. But I wanted to think, what are some other reasons why I think a bookkeeping business is so special? Here's some things that I haven't really talked about in the past. Monthly recurring income. You charge monthly for bookkeeping services. So tax services, one time per year. Just to use my wife's home organizing business as an example, people might hire her once to organize their closet or their pantry or their garage or their basement, and then they're done. It's kind of a one-time service. Bookkeeping, on the other hand, monthly recurring. You need bookkeeping every month on a recurring basis. So once you get a client, if they pay you $500 per month, landing that client is not just a $500 sale. You have to think, how long am I going to keep this client? Let's say I keep this client on average for 2 years and they're paying me $500 per month. Instead of viewing that as a $500 sale, instead look at that as, wow, I just landed a $12,000 sale. So think about that when you're doing marketing and sales, trying to get a customer. Think about, if I land this customer, it's worth $12,000 to me. the lifetime value of that customer. How long are you going to keep them? How much do they pay you per month, per year? The lifetime value of bookkeeping clients with the monthly recurring revenue, super, super important to take that into consideration, especially if you're thinking about paying for ads. If you want to think about paying for ads, if you're going to get a client that's going to pay you $12,000 over their lifetime, why not pay $5,000 or $6,000 to get one client? And then you could just pour gasoline on that fire and just spend more money and get more clients. Now, I'm not necessarily an advocate for paid per PPC ads. I've never actually run paid advertising for my bookkeeping company, but if you want to try running paid ads, look at the lifetime value of your clients, figure out how much money it costs to acquire a customer, and then see if it's worth it. See if you can't run ads and get a couple clients. Look at the lifetime value of your clients. Super, super impactful with monthly recurring revenue. And the work is spread out evenly throughout the year. So tax season for tax accountants is super stressful because they're jamming an entire year worth of work in 2 or 3 months. But for us, our work is spread out nice and even throughout the year. We work every single month. We don't really have a super busy season, except for maybe tax season. We're a little bit busier because of previous year cleanup projects. But apart from that, our work is spread out relatively evenly throughout the year. Low competition, really low competition compared to other businesses. And I don't mean to downplay any other business, but things like photography and junk removal, potentially a little bit easier to get started. Because let's be honest, bookkeeping is not for everybody. You have to be an analytical thinker. You have to be a problem solver. You have to be able to use technology, computers, Microsoft Excel, QuickBooks Online. You have to have the type of brain that can understand debits and credits. You might have to be probably pretty good at algebra, pretty good at high school math in order to be a good bookkeeper, in order to enjoy bookkeeping. So there's relatively lower competition because it's a little bit harder to get into than something like maybe photography and junk removal. Now let me just be clear. To be a good photographer, obviously incredibly hard. To have a good junk removal company, obviously really hard. But just to get started or even to want to be a bookkeeper. I feel like a lot of people might want to be a photographer because it might seem like fun. A lot of people with a pickup truck might think that starting a junk removal company is easy because you don't need to be good at math, because not everybody is good at math. So with all that being said, I don't want to be disrespectful to any other industry. Of course, every industry has its pros and cons, but I think there's a little bit less competition for us bookkeepers because fewer people want to be a bookkeeper. Fewer people understand debits and credits. Scalable or solo. You can run a solo bookkeeping company for the next 10 years and you could make $400,000 a year if you want. Or you can scale your bookkeeping company and you can hire bookkeepers, you can hire bookkeeping managers, and you can grow your company into 10, 20, 40, 80 employees. So it's cool to have the option. You can run as a solo company or you can scale. It's nice to have that flexibility. For me, I've always just run my bookkeeping company by myself. I don't really like the idea of managing other bookkeepers. I don't like the idea of checking work and dealing with training employees and dealing with office drama and people leaving and hiring people and recruiting. I don't like that idea. So I've just been a solo entrepreneur, owner operator, one man show. But if you want to grow a team and grow a big bookkeeping business, you absolutely can. A couple more points. I think these last 3 points are the most important points. Credibility and trust opens the door for future ventures because you're managing money. You're helping people with their bookkeeping and their taxes and their financial reports. That builds a lot of credibility with you as an entrepreneur, with you as an individual, and you establish trust with a ton of people. Financial services, all about trust. So here's what happened with me. I built my bookkeeping business over the past 5 years. I built trust with all of my bookkeeping clients, and it opened the door for me starting Zip Capital. I was able to leverage all of the credibility, my reputation, my online presence, all the trust that I built, all the goodwill that I've established over the past 5 years. That helped me launch my investment fund, Zip Capital. And this video is actually sponsored by Zip Capital, and I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns to accredited investors. If you want to learn more, if you are a US citizen and you want to learn more about Zip Capital, there's a link in the description of this video. You can click there, register on my website. You can learn more. We can chat on the phone. Literally just yesterday, I had somebody watching my video. She registered on my website, and I'm pretty sure she's investing $50,000 today into Zip Capital, all because she's been watching my YouTube videos. She also wants to start a bookkeeping business. She just sold a couple real estate properties, got some cash, wants to put it into Zip Capital, been watching my videos for the past year and saw my live yesterday, and she registered on my website. And I'm pretty sure today she's sending a wire for $50,000. So pretty cool. That's the credibility and trust that opens the door for future ventures. By being a good bookkeeper, having Google reviews, having a good reputation in your community, you can start another company if you want in a few years based on the credibility and trust that you've established as a successful bookkeeper. And then also the marketing, just like the trust and the credibility, but the marketing is also super important. People ask me with Zip Capital, how do you have such great deal flow? And I tell people very simply, for the past 5 years, I've been marketing and networking with other real estate investors to try to get them as bookkeeping clients. And now, instead of selling bookkeeping services, I'm just simply selling them private money lending services. So I have incredible deal flow because I already have 5 years of marketing and networking built up through my bookkeeping company. So now I can start the second company, Zip Capital, and it's been a really easy transition. I have a very large following on Facebook and YouTube. LinkedIn is pretty strong, Instagram, not so much, but I've been able to leverage my network and just grow my second company. So that's been really cool. So everything that you do right now, all the skills you learned, all the trust you build up, all the marketing you do, it's not it just think about it like you're just adding tools to your toolbox. You're just building your personal brand, and you're also learning so many things: tax, money, business knowledge, and skills. These skills are transferable and invaluable, and nobody can ever take them away from you. Nobody can ever take your education and your skills away from you. You can lose your money, you can lose your family, you can lose your friends, you can lose your assets. You can never lose your education and your skills. The skills that you acquire through starting this bookkeeping company are going to be invaluable and potentially open up $1 million opportunities in the future. That's literally exactly what happened with me and Zip Capital. Thank God I'm so blessed to be in this position. Because I started my bookkeeping business, I learned about private money lending, and now I've started Zip Capital. I just can't believe it. I've had a really great summer. Things have been going really well, and I just feel so blessed and just so thankful that God has given me this opportunity to start my bookkeeping business, grow my bookkeeping business, and now share all this information with everybody watching. So I appreciate you. Praise God for all of his blessings. Now let's get to the chat. Let's get to the comments. Let's see what your questions are. Hopefully this has been helpful. I know I went live yesterday. I wasn't going to do it today, but I just kind of wanted to. It's been fun. I've really been enjoying these videos. So if you like these videos, let me know. If you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel. Check out all the links in the description of this video. I've got a ton of great resources for you. I have every Monday at 3 p.m. We have a live group call. It's a private group every Monday at 3 p.m. I've got a free Facebook group that you can join. I've got a ton of digital downloads on my website. I've got my investment fund. I've got my course. It's all linked down below. So check out all those links. And now let's get to the questions. Does your bookkeeping course include lessons on how to do real estate bookkeeping? No. So I don't have specific real estate bookkeeping tips in my course. My course is just general how to start a bookkeeping business. It does go over bookkeeping fundamentals, QuickBooks online tutorials for general bookkeeping, and then marketing, sales, customer service, onboarding, cleanup projects, and everything like that. I've had a couple people ask about real estate investing. Let me know. Would you want me to add specific real estate investing bookkeeping tips in my course? Let me know. I think I might do that. I think I might add that into my course. Roy, hey, Zach, I struggle with long bookkeeping courses, bought an expensive one a few years ago, but it was so long and exhaustive that I got frustrated and gave up. Any tips on learning quicker? So Roy, so I kind of agree. And so my bookkeeping course is 10 hours. 10 hours is my bookkeeping course. And a lot of it's bookkeeping fundamentals and QuickBooks online tutorials. So If 10 hours seems obtainable for you, maybe consider checking out my course. It's $1,200 and it's linked down below. It's only 10 hours. So I did that on purpose. I could have maybe added more information, but I wanted to just give you all exactly what you need to know. Like literally tell me exactly what I need to know to start my bookkeeping business right now. Super practical, very easy to understand, quick to go through. It has all the information you need to get started immediately. Hi, Zach. Can you please discuss whether or not AI will replace bookkeepers? Yes, I have an entire video that I posted a couple weeks ago. It's on my channel and it talks about will AI replace bookkeepers? So definitely check that out. Basically, overall, I said no. I don't think artificial intelligence will replace bookkeepers, but instead, I think bookkeepers who know how to use AI will replace other people who don't know how to use AI. Let's see. Hey, Zach, when working with CPAs that offer bookkeeping, how much should I charge? I would assume you'd get commission working with them. When working with CPAs that offer bookkeeping, I'm not really sure what your question means. Maybe you're thinking about referring bookkeeping clients over to the CPA. So, whenever I refer clients, I usually try to get 30. What do I do? I usually try to get 30% of the revenue collected for the first 3 months or 10% of the revenue collected for the first 12 months, if possible. If that's too much to do, then maybe just say, can I get 1 month worth of services up front? So think about it, 30% for the first 3 months is 90%. 10% for the first 12 months is 120%, or just 100% of 1 month. So they're all kind of 90, 100, 120%. It's just some are straight up upfront, others are kind of more spread out. So maybe get 100% of 1 month of services. That might be a good place to start. KR, is bookkeeping dying? When I reach out to potential clients, they say that automated QuickBooks is good enough. How can I persuade them to go with an actual bookkeeper? Is bookkeeping dying? So let me just be honest. I've been using QuickBooks Online for the past 5 years. There are a ton of mistakes. So QuickBooks is able to do a lot of the bookkeeping with rules and automations, yes, but you still need to have an operator. You still need to have a person. Think about drones. Are pilots dying? Maybe, maybe not. There's a lot of drones, but we still need a drone pilot. We still need a pilot. So the same thing with QuickBooks Online. So maybe use that analogy with your clients. Maybe let them know like, hey, you still need somebody checking your QuickBooks. You still need somebody reconciling your accounts. You still need somebody to troubleshoot when you have issues going on. So maybe in the future, we might not be able to charge as much for our bookkeeping services because it's probably going to take less time, which is okay. That just means you'll be able to get more bookkeeping clients. Here's worst case scenario. And I brought this up yesterday. Here's the absolute worst case scenario. Bookkeeping is dead. And in 2 years, robots totally take over everything that we've done. But I would still don't let that persuade you from starting a bookkeeping business because like I mentioned, all the skills that you learn from starting this company, all the goodwill and trust and credibility that you will gain over the next 2 years will enable you to just pivot and start a new bookkeeping company or start a new company, not necessarily a bookkeeping company. And that's just worst case scenario. Best case scenario, robots and artificial intelligence don't take over in 2 years and you have a flourishing business that you start 5 years down the road. You've saved $200,000 and now you can do something else. So I would say no, bookkeeping is not dying. Artificial intelligence and automation are changing things, but bookkeeping is not dead. We still need to have operators and drone pilots. Marianne, hi Zach, good day. What can you say about construction bookkeeping and law firm bookkeeping? Is it good for beginners to learn? If so, can you recommend actions to be good at it? So law firms, don't know much about law firms. I do know there's something called an IOLTA account that I don't know anything about, but maybe look into IOLTA accounts for law firms. Construction companies, they need to have project tracking. This is one of the most complicated things when it comes to bookkeeping. It's one of the most common complicated things. Construction, bookkeeping, they need project tracking. So they're working on multiple different projects at one time, different expenses going out, income coming in from different projects. And so they want to know, if I go to Home Depot, is that for project ABC or project 1, 2, 3? So you need to be able to do project tracking for bookkeeping clients. maybe consider learning JobTread. JobTread is really popular software that a lot of construction companies use. I don't like JobTread. I just like to do my bookkeeping in QuickBooks. But it seems like a lot of construction, a lot of home remodeling, a lot of general contractors use JobTread for their project tracking. That's pretty much it for construction bookkeeping. There's also like KIP, construction in progress. I don't see that quite as often. Like for example, if somebody were building a new house, you might put all of the materials and labor into like a KIP account, construction in progress. And then whenever you actually sell the house, that might get moved out of KIP and into cost of goods sold, kind of like a WIP account, like work in progress, but it's KIP, construction in progress. That's much more advanced. That could potentially be a thing, especially if you have a bigger construction company. They're doing bigger projects, spending more money, and want more accurate financials. I would focus more on project tracking. That's more basic intro level stuff. But if you do want to niche down and work on construction bookkeeping, maybe look into KIP, construction in progress. That'll probably turn up as you get bigger and larger clients. Let's see. Jen, Simple Faith. How hard is it to get the first client and convince them with no experience to hire you? It's going to be really hard. Getting your first client is the hardest. Here's how I got my first client. I sent them a Facebook message and I said, hey, I'm a bookkeeper. Let me know if you need help with your QuickBooks. And I sent that message to probably 500 people before I got somebody to hire me. So it's all just a numbers game. It's sales. You got to reach out to a ton of people and you got to do it every day consistently. You have to create content, get your name out there, establish credibility, build trust, establish relationships with total strangers on the internet, which is really hard, but can be done over time by consistently showing up. And you just have to send messages, DMs, messages, emails, phone calls, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's possible. It's hard, but it's possible. And just don't be just be honest. Be honest. If people ask if you have any experience, here's my advice. Try not to give out too much incriminating information. So don't overshare. If people ask you if you have any experience, say, I'm actually a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor. That sounds pretty legit. You're not necessarily telling them I have 0 clients, I've never done this before, but instead you're answering their question in a way that is truthful and reassuring. Hey, do you have any experience? Well, as a matter of fact, I am actually a certified QuickBooks Online Pro advisor. Oh, geez. Okay. Wow. Like that sounds super fancy. Okay, sure. So you don't have to tell them like, no, I don't have any experience. You're going to be my first client I've ever worked on. Don't say that. Just don't lie, but also, figure out a way that you can share some information that makes you sound credible. All right, let's see. I lost my place. I got to get better at this. Yep, the ROI is better with ads as a bookkeeper. That doesn't include a cleanup or catch-up fee. Yeah, so I've never paid for ads, Daniel, but I used to message a ton of junk removal companies to be my clients. Hey, junk removal companies, there's a lot of them out there. Junk removal companies can be good bookkeeping clients because they're busy. There are a lot of them out there. It's a great service. A lot of people need junk removal. So that would be a great potential first client. Hey, Zach, is your bookkeeping company cash or accrual based? My bookkeeping company is cash based, but I do bookkeeping for several other companies that are accrual based. But no, everything that I do is just cash based. Do you do any tax strategy, Mel? Nope, I don't do any tax strategy. So there's 4 different things that an accountant can do for a business. We can do bookkeeping, which is categorizing transactions, reconciling accounts, and generating financial reports. You can have payroll, which is totally separate from bookkeeping and tax prep. Payroll is, you already know what payroll is, but that's totally separate. I don't do payroll. And then there's tax accountant. Everybody knows what that is. There's tax preparers and there's tax strategy. Those are also 2 different things, but they're related to taxes. I don't do either of those things. I don't prepare taxes. I don't offer tax strategy. People pay thousands and thousands of dollars for tax strategy. People pay $2,000 for tax preparer, and then they pay $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a tax strategy. So if you're offering bookkeeping services at $500 a month, I would recommend do not offer tax strategy on top of that for only $500 per month because you are significantly undervaluing your services. If you're offering tax strategy, that needs to be well above and beyond the basic bookkeeping package. And then the fourth thing is fractional CFO services, chief financial officer services. That's more what's going to happen in the future. So, bookkeeping, what happened in the past. CFO, what's going to happen in the future. Also, two totally separate things. Sometimes tax strategy and CFO services might be combined, but bookkeeping, CFO, totally separate. Once again, if you're charging $500 for bookkeeping, don't also offer CFO services unless you're going to charge more. You can, of course, offer both, but they're two separate things. They should be charged. You should be charging much more for fractional CFO services. Most people start at $2,000 per month for CFO services, and that's predicting what's going to happen in the future. That's forecasting, budgeting, predicting what's going to happen in the future, and also strategizing what should the business owner do in the future. Josh, is $3 per transaction still a viable fee structure? Yes, that's what I do. Have most bookkeepers moved to different pricing models? I don't know. If anybody else wants to chime in, I guess, yeah, we can use the chat a little bit differently. If anybody else wants to chime in and answer other people's questions, please go ahead. But Josh, I'll just give you my advice. $3 per transaction, that's how I quote. I have a minimum. $300 per month is my minimum. So if you have 100 transactions per month or less, I'm going to charge you $300 per month minimum for bookkeeping services. Once you get more than $100 per transaction, I start averaging $3 per transaction. Keep in mind, though, I charge $3 per transaction. That doesn't mean it changes every month. That doesn't mean, oh, based on last month, you had 120 transactions, I'll charge you $360, but the month before you only had 105 transactions, I'll charge you $315. I don't change it every month. I take an average. So if I'm quoting somebody, I'm going to look at August, July, and June. I'm going to average the number of monthly transactions over the previous 3 months, multiply that by 3. There's your monthly bookkeeping fee moving forward. Walter, do you manually input invoices into QuickBooks for your clients? Do you charge additionally for this type of manual work? Yes, I charge $10 per invoice per month on average. Once again, on average. So I do total accounts receivable management. I'll create your invoice. I'll send it to your customer. I'll follow up on unpaid invoices. I'll mark invoices as paid, and I'll match them to the bank deposit. Total, complete accounts receivable management. $10 per invoice. I like to have a minimum of $100. Maybe I would do a minimum of $50 per month if they have less than 5 invoices per month. But yes, I will manage somebody's accounts receivable totally start to finish. I can do everything for accounts receivable except for literally go to the bank and deposit checks. Does your 30-day social media marketing strategy plan include the outreach strategy, or is it strictly a content creation plan? Alan, yeah, strictly content creation. I literally have 30 days of posts planned out. I tell you exactly what to post, when to post it. I give you ideas, I give you strategy, but yeah, it's a roadmap, it's a strategy guide, it's a calendar for your first 30 days of social media marketing posts. But for the outreach strategy, I'll just be honest with you right now, it's super simple. I wait 30 days. And so today's September 24th, so I would look, who did I become friends with on August 24th, 30 days ago? And I'll just going to message everybody from August 24th on Facebook and LinkedIn. Send them a quick message. Hey, I'm a bookkeeper. Let me know if you ever need help with your QuickBooks. That's honestly my outreach strategy. I'm doing that right now with Zip Capital. On LinkedIn, I'm looking back to see who I became connections with on LinkedIn 30 days ago. Literally just this morning, I looked at who did I become connected to on August 24th, and I sent them all a message on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm running Zip Capital, offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you want to invest in Zip Capital. I'm literally doing that right now on LinkedIn. So I still think it's a great strategy. I'm doing it right now. Let's see, where are we? Bookkeeping for real estate clients are more complicated. Yeah, bookkeeping for real estate is some of the most complicated bookkeeping, in my opinion, because you have so many assets and so many liabilities. They're buying properties. You have the purchase price of the property, rehab costs, holding costs, finance, closing costs, commissions. There's a lot of WIP. There's a lot of inventory when you're flipping houses. And there's a lot of class tracking because you want to class track each property individually so that you can judge the profitability of each flip. My biggest client right now is a real estate investor. He pays me $2,500 per month, and they've been doing it for the past 3 years, and they're not going anywhere. So they love having me as their bookkeeper. They could hire, literally, they're paying me $30,000 per year. They could probably hire a full time employee for $40,000 per year, but they don't want to because their bookkeeping is so complicated and we've been doing such a good job. So, real estate investing, super complicated, but I love doing their bookkeeping. It's so satisfying because real estate investors need bookkeeping, and there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of bookkeepers don't know how to do bookkeeping for real estate investors. So, if you can learn how to do it, super valuable niche to be in. And also, you can learn a ton about real estate investing. That's how I got into private money lending, by doing bookkeeping for real estate investors. I learned about private money lending, and then I got started private money lending on my own. So much information to be learned. So definitely recommend, if you're looking for a niche, if you like the idea of real estate investing, look into it. I think it's great. Yes, please add the real estate bookkeeping part to your course. I think I will. No name. I will definitely look into it. Daniel, AI does help us though. Me, anyways, I always chat with ChatGPT on real estate related questions. I also use the AI features in QuickBooks. Yeah, ChatGPT is great for generating ideas and for answering questions. I can't tell you. So here's another way that I use AI and ChatGPT. So I will take an email from somebody that is maybe really long, and I'll say, hey, tell me what this email is about, or respond to this email, or tell this person, no, unfortunately, I can't do it right now, in a professional, polite tone. So instead of spending my brain power responding to every email, I'll just put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, respond to this email. Literally, for this YouTube video, I went to ChatGPT and said, hey, I want to make a video about reasons why bookkeeping is a good side hustle. And I said, give me 5 title ideas and rank them number 1 through 5. Give me the 5 best titles that are more likely to get people to want to watch this video. So it's great for responding to emails, for digesting information, for generating ideas, and creating marketing content strategy. So ChatGPT is a great starting point. It's a great tool, but it's never a complete process or a complete solution. You need to take the information from ChatGPT, interpret it, adjust it, refine it, tweak it to your own style. So use it for creating ideas, but just keep in mind that you need to use your own refinement and judgment to make it yourself and make it your own style. Let's see, more questions. Walter Soar, do you currently use AI as part of any significant process? There you go. I just answered your question there. Yes, I use it for coming up with content strategy ideas, coming up with responses to emails, and sometimes answering complex tax questions or bookkeeping questions. ChatGPT is great at accounting, debits and credits, tax. So if you have any questions, if clients ask you questions, definitely leverage ChatGPT to give a nice, formal, professional, polite response. But then, of course, proofread everything, fine tune it, refine it, make it your own style, because we can kind of tell when stuff is straight copied and pasted from ChatGPT. You don't want to straight copy and paste stuff from ChatGPT. Niasia, so happy I finally caught you in live. So proud of the hard work you've been doing. I'm in a completely different field, but your videos have motivated me. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know other people in different industries were watching. So, hey, I guess these videos aren't just for bookkeepers and accountants, but I guess they're for some nurses and some other people. So, Niasia, appreciate you. Thanks for watching. How did you obtain your knowledge to do the real estate bookkeeping? Honestly, I just learned through experience. I am self-taught. I taught myself how to do real estate bookkeeping. I made some mistakes for sure, made some mistakes along the way, but I just learned. You can learn a lot from your clients. You can learn a lot from the books. Luckily, back in 2023, I got this big bookkeeping client for real estate investors, and I looked through how they recorded their HUDs previously. I looked at how they handled their acquisition and their dispositions. I was looking at HUDs from previous bookkeepers and kind of saw how they were doing things. Just the more experience you get, the more real estate investors you work with, you just kind of learn. You learn through experience, you learn through doing, you learn through making mistakes. The key is you're going to make mistakes. Just learn from your mistakes and don't make the same mistake twice. And then, of course, you can just watch YouTube videos. There's a ton of YouTube videos out there. I have a lot about real estate investing, how to do journal entries, how to do bookkeeping for real estate investors. Let's see. Thomas, when do you involve your partner CPA, and what is the industry practice to compensate or revenue share with CPA services on a client account, I involve my CPA whenever it's time for taxes. So if somebody needs a CPA or a tax accountant for taxes, I just send them an email and say, "Hey, here's Kyle. He's the CPA who I partner with. He does the taxes for all my clients, but I let them handle communication directly. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to play middleman. It's too much work. It's confusing. It's inefficient. So if somebody needs taxes, I just hand them over directly to Kyle and say, "Hey, here's Kyle. He can help you." I don't do revenue share. I don't get compensated for whatever I refer over to Kyle. I'm a big fan of just give, build up goodwill, and eventually good things will happen. I would much rather Kyle or any CPA or anybody who I work with, I would much rather just help them a lot and get to a point where they kind of feel like they owe me one. And then if they pay me back, great. Then we have a really great partnership. If they don't pay me back, if it's not a good relationship, then that's fine too. Maybe I move on. Maybe I'm giving way more than I'm receiving, and maybe that's okay. Or maybe I need something. Maybe I need something from the CPA. And so when I get to that point where I need something from the CPA, if he's not able to deliver that, maybe I move on and find a new CPA. I'm not a big fan of. I mean, the compensation, the revenue share is great. That's fine. But what are you going to get? A couple $100? I would much rather establish goodwill, build high quality relationships, and have good partnerships that are a little bit more meaningful than just money, because there's going to be a point in time where you need something and you're not able to get it, and it's priceless, it's invaluable. You need somebody to help you. So I would rather just help a bunch of people, and then I believe in just establishing goodwill, and eventually the more good you do, it's going to reciprocate. It's going to come back to you. All right, let's see. Can bookkeepers work with clients nationwide? Yes, absolutely. You can work with bookkeeping clients all over the country. I've got business owners all Florida, Chicago, Texas, California, Massachusetts, all over the country. Let's see. Do you do the journal entries at the end of the year, or are the CPAs going to want to do that? It all depends on what kind of journal entry we're talking about. Are we talking about loans where you're just splitting interest and principal? I do that. If you're talking about depreciation, adjusting journal entries, you're probably going to want to get that information from the CPA. Adjusting maybe accounts payable or accounts receivable, probably going to want to get that from the CPA to make sure the balance sheet on the books matches the tax return. So yes, it's a working relationship, and there's not a set way of doing everything. So some CPAs work differently, some business owners work differently. I just try to cooperate. If a CPA wants me to do something differently, if a business owner wants me to do something one way or another, I try to be easy to work with. I try to cooperate with people. Of course, there's some things that I'm pretty strict on, but other things, sure. If you want me to do this, if you want me to do that, if you don't want me to do this, that's fine. I try to be easy to work with. I try to be pretty cooperative with CPAs and business owners. Let's see. Daniel, I learned by watching YouTube videos and also asking AI a ton of questions as situations came up. Absolutely. That's what ChatGPT is there for. Ask a ton of questions. Aaron, how did you know who to send friend requests to, especially since you don't have an industry niche? I joined local Facebook groups. In those local Facebook groups, I just searched for business owners in the Facebook groups. So you can go to local Facebook groups and then go to the members in that group, go to members with things in common, and then just sort through the list there and just find business owners. Go join local business groups. So like in Central PA, there's like the Central Pennsylvania Support Small Business Owners, like an amazing Facebook group, has like 20,000 people in it. And I just sorted through the members in that group. I knew they were all local. I knew they were all probably relative to business somehow. And I just started sending 20, 30, 40 friend requests per day. Let's see. Jen Simple Faith, do you recommend reaching out to businesses wanting to hire a bookkeeper as employee to convince them to hire a contract bookkeeper? Not necessarily. I don't think that's going to be a good use of your time. You could maybe call a couple people, maybe email a couple people, be like, hey, I saw that you have on LinkedIn or Indeed, I saw that you're looking for a part-time bookkeeper. Have you ever considered hiring an independent contractor? Have you ever considered outsourcing your bookkeeping? You could maybe tell them the benefits, like, hey, I'm a QuickBooks certified pro advisor. I already understand how to do bookkeeping. I've got QuickBooks Online experience. You wouldn't need to train me, and I would just work as an independent contractor. You could try to do that, but the majority of people looking for a part-time admin or a part-time bookkeeper like in-house, they're probably pretty set and they probably want to have an in-house bookkeeper, but it couldn't hurt. It all comes down to how much time you have. So that's what I did. When I started my bookkeeping business, when I quit my full-time job, I would just sit in front of my computer and I would do all my bookkeeping. I had like 5 clients. It took me an hour to do all the bookkeeping. I did all the bookkeeping in the morning, and then I had 7 hours of the day to create content, create tutorials, write a blog on my website, update my Google My Business profile, send emails, make phone calls. Just sit in front of your computer and just think, okay, it's 11:45 right now. I'm going to lunch in 30 minutes. Just right now, let's focus. What can I do right now for the next 30 minutes to grow my bookkeeping business? And then just set a timer and just work for 30 minutes. Maybe it's write a blog. Maybe it's get a list of email addresses from local business owners. Just do something. It doesn't matter what you do. There's 100 different ways that you could outreach and create content and market and advertise and sell. It doesn't matter what you do. It just matters that you do something. And then 12:15 to 1 o'clock, go to lunch, take a break, come back to your desk. Okay, it's 1 o'clock right now. I've got until 5 p.m. I've got 4 hours right now. All my bookkeeping is done. All my emails are read and done. I'm just now getting started. I need to focus. Now I've got 4 hours. Now what can I do to grow my bookkeeping business? And then just do that every single day for 6 months. Just hardcore focus on getting more bookkeeping clients. And if you do that, I promise you, if you do that, if you hardcore focus and manage your time and work efficiently, I promise you in 6 months, you will have more bookkeeping clients. Let's see. Child Davids. If you work with a CPA that already offers bookkeeping, would they pay you to help with bookkeeping, or do they usually just refer you? I guess that could work one of two ways. If the CPA already does bookkeeping, then maybe you could work as an independent contractor for that CPA. I'm not a fan of doing this. They'll probably pay you $50 an hour to work. I'm not a fan of doing this. I would much rather just get my own bookkeeping clients because I don't want my business to be dependent on the CPA. Like I want to build up my own assets as in like my own lead generation strategy, my own website, my own SEO, my own social media, my own Google My Business. I don't want to just be a 1099 independent contractor for a CPA. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my own business. I want a way of getting my own bookkeeping clients. It's totally possible. Think about it like a real estate agent who works for a brokerage. Most real estate agents just work for the broker. Like they are dependent on their broker and they're like an agent of that brokerage. That's kind of what you would be doing if you just partnered with a CPA and just did work for the CPA. That would be fine. You could definitely do that. But the other option is just start your own company, start your own bookkeeping business. For the real estate example, just start your own brokerage, get licensed, and just do everything yourself. Yes, there's more risk, but there's also more reward. There's more risk because you're not dependent on anybody else, but there's more reward because you get 100% of the profit, 100% of the commission, 100% of the sales because you're doing all the work. I would much rather just start it from scratch, do it myself, be in control. I don't like the idea of working for somebody else. Now, with that being said, if you're trying to get experience, if you're trying to learn, if you're trying to get started, it could be a good way to get started. Think about it like training wheels. It could help you learn how to ride your bike, but eventually you want to get rid of the training wheels and ride the bike by yourself. Lewis, should I consider a remote side bookkeeping job? If so, which are better to focus on? I don't think you should try to get a job. I think you should try to get clients. Focus on getting clients. I don't think getting a job is a good use of your time. I think you should focus on researching social media marketing ideas. Learn more about bookkeeping, learn accounting concepts, learn bookkeeping fundamentals, create marketing content, network with other business owners. There are so many business owners out there. They're paying $500 a month for bookkeeping. You just need to get 10 clients and you'll make $5,000 per month. That's really good money. And you'll work 10, 15 hours per week. And then you can get more clients if you want. I would not recommend, don't waste your time working for a CPA or getting a part-time job unless your goal is to learn and to get experience. But to me, it's taking a short, for me, it's kind of, it's taking a shortcut. It's taking the easy way out. It's settling. To me, it's settling. I would much rather Work toward your goal of actually doing the thing. Don't settle on just getting a part-time job, 30 bucks an hour, getting a part-time job, 50 bucks an hour, working as an independent contractor. That's settling. To me, that's not the end goal. Focus, that's not an option. Don't even think about that as an option. Your only option is to get your own bookkeeping clients. It'll be so much better down the road. I promise you, so much better down the road if you do that. Let's see. Let's see. Jessica, do you provide KPIs? I've noticed several bookkeepers do. I don't. The only thing I do is I just send your profit and loss. And if you want your balance sheet, I'll send you your balance sheet, but I don't do that. That to me, that's a little bit more advanced. So I would, if you do that, I would charge extra for that. That's almost more like fractional CFO services. So I would say, here's my basic bookkeeping package: record transactions, reconcile accounts, generate financial reports, P&L, balance sheet. If you want KPIs, here's an extra add-on advisory package where I can help you with strategy and KPIs in an advisory role. Daniel, I do $3 per, plus I charge a premium for real estate investors based on number of houses. Absolutely. I love that. If you want class tracking, I charge $4 per transaction. Project tracking, class tracking, $4 per transaction. Dan Hugh, hello from UK. Very good content. Thanks a lot. That's crazy. We are international, everybody. We are not only in the United States, but we've got somebody from the UK. If anybody else is from a different country, let me know in the chat. I'd love to know where you all are from. Simon, in the UK, we have VAT requiring periodic VAT returns. Do you offer similar, or would you still say no to this? VAT sounds like sales tax, and I would not do that unless it's super, super common. If you have to, I don't know much about VAT. I don't know anything about VAT. I think it's in Canada, obviously the UK. If every other bookkeeper is doing it, you're going to have to do it. But if other bookkeepers aren't doing it, I would try not to do it. But if you do it, just charge extra. Charge extra. Curious how many projects they are running currently, the $2,500 client. They are a real estate investor. They purchase probably 5 to 10 houses every single month. So they're constantly working on, they have about 30 rentals, and they're flipping probably 20 houses at a time. So they're pretty big. Please add REI bookkeeping in your course. I think I will. I think I have to. Biff, I'm currently working on my CPA and hope to run a small bookkeeping firm here soon. Biff, what do you mean hope to run a small bookkeeping firm here soon? I would recommend start right now. And what I mean by start right now is, I know you're probably busy. Maybe you're still taking classes. Maybe you're studying for the CPA. Start right now. Create your LLC, get your website, create your Google My Business profile, talk about it on social media, talk about your CPA journey, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Start sharing content now. Even if you're not taking on clients, this is an amazing time to get started. What you're doing right now is so interesting. Studying for the CPA, the journey, the hard work, the sacrifices. Talk about it all. Talk about that stuff on social media. Get your website up and running and say, hey, I'm not taking on clients right now. I'm focused on passing the CPA exam. But once I do, spring 2026, I'll be taking on new bookkeeping clients. Join my wait list. Hello, what an amazing opportunity. Here's my link on my website. Join my wait list. If you need help with your bookkeeping starting 2026, I'm taking on new clients. Do that. Biff, I promise you, I'm so happy you said that. What do you mean? You're not hoping to run a small bookkeeping firm. You are starting one today. Start one right now. Start an LLC. Get a website. Start today. Don't wait. Start marketing now. Start building your personal brand right now. Florida Adventure Mom, how would you get CPAs to refer bookkeeping clients to you? Super simple. Refer tax people to them. That's how you do it. There's no magic. There's no secret. There's no shortcut. Refer people to them. Give, and they will reciprocate. Turmoil. Zach, how do you handle accounts payable and accounts receivable? Should I just have them send me summary reports at the month end? I don't manage AP and AR unless they pay me extra to do it. I will manage your accounts receivable for $10 per invoice per month on average, or I'll manage your accounts payable, $5 per accounts payable per month on average. But I don't touch it if I'm not managing it. So there's two options. Either I manage it for you or I don't manage it for you. If I don't manage it for you, I don't mess with it. I don't touch it. That's up to the client. That's up to the business owner. Um, let's see. I kind of lost my spot again. Let's see. Is REI and construction bookkeeping the same concept? Pretty much, yeah, because real estate investors are flipping houses, construction companies are doing construction projects. So it is pretty similar with class tracking and project tracking. Din, hi, Zach. Hello. KR, do you have any experience working with an enrolled agent? If so, in what way? Probably similar to a CPA. I don't have experience, but I would probably say you would just refer your clients over to them and they would probably help with taxes. Din, Zach, what do you think about bookkeeping for health clinics and chiropractors? I've never done it, but I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure there's a ton of them who need bookkeeping. I think it'd be great. I would give it a try. The thing about finding a niche. So I just don't want you to don't try to find a niche and then like before you start working in it. So just start taking on clients. See who's in your local community. Like if you live in Florida, there's probably a lot of fishing companies that you could work with. But if you live in Minnesota or Kansas, there's probably not too many fishing and boat companies to work with. So maybe in Florida you have a niche where like, hey, I work with fishing companies. But if you're in Kansas, you probably don't work with fishing companies. So it's kind of a dumb example. It's kind of an extreme example, but just take on bookkeeping clients, get 10 clients, and then you can pick a niche. I thought my niche was going to be trucking, but then I started working with real estate investors and my life is literally changed because of real estate investing. And I might have missed out. If I just would have stuck with trucking and kind of branded myself as the trucking accountant, who knows? I might have missed out on getting real estate investors. So don't necessarily pick a niche in the beginning, but just get a ton of clients in the beginning and then figure out who you like working with and then pick a niche after you get some experience. Thomas, for monthly client calls, what performance topics do you cover and what are your limits on recommendations? I don't do monthly client calls. I just send the profit and loss on a monthly basis. That's all I do. So if it does come to client calls, I usually just answer questions. I'm not really in the business of giving advice and giving strategy and giving recommendations. I will answer questions, but that's about it. Like if you say like, hey, let me look at the P&L. Okay, why is legal and professional fees so high? I just tell you what happened in the past. I'm not here to give you advice or strategy or tips on what to do in the future. To me, that there's a very fine line and I don't cross that line because that's a different service. That's more money. There's a ton of people who do that, but I don't do that. So I just tell you what happened in the past. So if you want to deep dive into an account and figure out what happened yesterday, I can tell you what happened yesterday, but I'm not giving you tips and tricks and advice on what to do in the future. Florida Adventure Mom. I would be interested in buying a course specifically for real estate investors since I already know general bookkeeping. Just a suggestion to have it as a separate course. That's a really good idea. I should probably do that. I appreciate that. Brian, hey Zach, congrats on the new edition. If you could start your bookkeeping business over again, what would you do different? Thanks, ma'am. I would only focus. I would hyper focus on QuickBooks Online, offering services remotely and just doing bookkeeping. So when I got started, I went to people's offices. I worked with QuickBooks Desktop and I tried to do payroll. And so I would not make those mistakes again. And I did that because I was desperate. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to get more clients, but I quickly realized that that stuff is different. It's not necessarily too hard. It's just different. And so I just want to focus on bookkeeping and I don't want to waste time going to people's offices. That's a huge waste of time. And I don't like working in people's offices because I feel like an employee. Like if they walk past my office and if they see me, like I feel like I have to pretend like I'm working the whole time. And it just makes you feel like an employee. Whereas working virtually, you can take client calls. You can go for a walk outside. You can pet your dog in the backyard for 10 minutes. Work virtually, work remotely, only work with QuickBooks Online and only do bookkeeping. That's what I would do all over again if I could get started, if I did it all over again. Erica, I take care of 2 kids like your wife. Is it realistic to have over 20 to 30 clients each month? So having one client is 30 minutes per week. So if you have 30 clients each month, you'll probably spend 20 hours operating your bookkeeping business. So if you think that you could work part-time 20 hours per week and raise your 2 kids, then maybe it's probably going to be really hard because I'm assuming like if your kids are at home all the time, it's going to be really hard. You're probably going to be really stressed out. But general rule of thumb for me is 30 minutes per week per client. Erica, I feel like I don't have time like my husband. That's I feel for you. Time. So we all have the same 24 hours, but we all do different things in those 24 hours. So it's definitely tough to manage a household, manage a family, and work at the same time. It's definitely not easy. So I don't have a solution. I don't have a magic answer for that. But yeah, one thing that I try to do, so I try to prioritize my faith and my family and my fitness. So I have definitely made sacrifices. I love watching football. I love going to the gym. But for me, going watching football all day on Sunday, I can't do that anymore. Hanging out with friends, maybe going out with your friends Friday night, maybe instead of doing that, instead of going out with your friends Friday night, go to bed early Friday night so that you can wake up early on Saturday morning and get a couple hours of work in before your kids wake up. So it all comes down to your priorities. So when it comes to time management, you have to figure out, what am I willing to sacrifice? What am I not willing to sacrifice? I'd be willing to bet if you do a time audit of your evenings, mornings, and weekends, I'd be willing to bet there are probably a few hours that you could squeeze out by making sacrifices, by maybe 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Perfect example. I like to watch Netflix, but if I was tight on time, maybe from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., do bookkeeping instead of watching Netflix. Sunday, perfect example, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. I like watching football. But if the kids are napping from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., instead of watching football, maybe I do some bookkeeping. So maybe try to find some time that you can make sacrifices while still spending time with your family, still going to church. For me, going to church Sunday morning and going to the gym during my lunch break. Those are my priorities. But watching football, hanging out with friends, I have made sacrifices in those areas so that I could still prioritize other things and still grow my bookkeeping business. But I agree, it is definitely hard to manage everything. Aaron, why do you recommend to not niche down by industry? It seems business gurus always recommend to niche down as much as possible. Did you try it, Aaron? I don't know. I don't really know. I do bookkeeping for 80 different clients, and some of them are truckers, some of them are advertising agencies, got a couple construction companies, a couple real estate investors. I kind of like being a little bit diversified. I don't really know. So I do have a niche. I do have a niche in the services that I provide and the software that I use, but I don't necessarily have a niche in the industry that I work with. I think it could be a good option. It could be a good option because you learn the intricacies of that industry. So I'm not necessarily against having an industry specific niche. I'm more so against, don't necessarily try to pick a niche in the very beginning because you don't know what you want to do. You don't know who you want to work with. So I recommend get 10 clients first, and then you can pick a niche. Get some experience first, and then you can find out who you like working for and what kind of bookkeeping you like doing. Niasia, all tips, oh, I just lost it. All tips are helping me for nursing, so I can imagine how well you guys will do if you implemented them for your bookkeeping business. Really appreciate you. Let's see. Aaron from the UK, Niasia from New York, Christian from Canada, Thomas. I would definitely like to sign up for a real estate bookkeeping course. Erica from California, Simon from Canada. I love it. Thomas, US citizen serving US companies from Paris, France. We got people all over the place. Johnny, how do you have such an abundant mindset? Does it come naturally or did you have to work at it? I for sure have a scarcity mindset. Johnny, I don't really know how it happens. Maybe it has something to do with my faith and my relationship with Jesus. Maybe it just, I'm generally trying to be optimistic. I don't know, Johnny. I don't really know where it comes from, but I definitely have an abundance mindset. I mean, what I teach on YouTube is a perfect example. I'm teaching all my competition how to get bookkeeping clients, but I believe there are more than enough bookkeeping clients for all of us. Niasia, wow, good for you, Thomas. Goals. Let's see. One more question. Daniel, I have to do a bi-weekly meeting with one of my real estate clients because one of the partners never answers his emails. Do you advise getting your QuickBooks certification? Yes. Julie, absolutely. I definitely recommend become a certified QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, and they even have a bookkeeping fundamentals certification. So you could definitely do that. Love that. Christian Bennett, what are some of your best tips and tricks to get your clients done with 30 minutes per week? I find I am working more than 30 minutes per client. So I work on every client once per week, only one time per week. So if you are a Monday client, I only log into your books one time per week on Monday. I don't if something comes up on Thursday, if you email me on Thursday, then I will forward that email to myself on the following Monday. I don't log into people's QuickBooks more than one time per week. That seems to be a good strategy for time management. I make sure all their accounts are connected to the QuickBooks bank feed so that I can just manually record transactions in the QuickBooks bank feed. And finally, I have rules. I have rules set up for each client. So if they're using their debit card and credit card, if they're going to Starbucks and it's a common transaction, I'll create a rule. Bank text, Starbucks, category, meals, payee, Starbucks, auto ad. So I'll use auto ad rules very specifically targeting specific words in the bank text. So those are a couple tips and tricks. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to stop the video now. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to keep doing these lives. Check out all the links in the description of the video. If you want to register with Zip Capital, I would love to work with you. I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns to accredited investors. I've got a course that teaches you everything you want to know. Check out all the links in the description of this video. Thank you so much. I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day.